Dude, I got sparkling water.
It's all over. You got the sparkling water all over the place.
Oh, I actually almost forgot that we were doing that. What's up, guys? What's up? This is the Chew Doing podcast.
Chew doing. Come on, tell me. What you doing? Boo 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 ba doo doo doo. Yeah.
Well, this is episode 8.
Episode 8. Isn't it great? Episode 8.
Hey, why are you acting like this? Before we started recording, you weren't acting like this.
I was
And then we started
100% acting like
and
this.
all of a sudden, no, dude, be yourself.
You could hear Laura. All right. Well, welcome to the podcast. It's good to see you, gents, again. Really good stuff going on. Nathan, how have you been? Tell everyone. Oh, big update in your world. What's going on?
Oh.
All right, we got to start better than this. All right, well, it was recently a very important holiday, Halloween. Do y'all celebrate Halloween?
It's weird. This year, we didn't do anything. Well, we did. We have some cousins that have little kids, and we went trick-or-treating with them.
Okay. Yeah.
But
What did you go as?
I went as a favor runner.
Did you at least use the bag for candy?
I did, but I didn't go to many. I felt kind of weird.
Yeah, because you're old.
I felt kind of weird going trick-or-treating.
Yeah. I definitely feel like trick-or-treating is not the norm for... Well, it still is a norm, but it's not as crazy as it used to be when we were growing up. I feel like when we were growing up, everybody and their mom went trick-or-treating. And now everyone's going to these trunk-or-treats, like up and down Stone Oak. It's like, come on, little Billy and Timmy, let's go to trunk-or-treat. And then these big old mega churches have their fall festival.
Nathan went as Beetlejuice for Halloween.
Oh, this Beetlejuice, though. Yo. Messed up.
Dude.
Hey, he's making money, though, so.
Can't breathe.
He's making money. Making that money.
Anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, horrible.
Guys, so look, let me just set the record straight. If you guys are not watching us on YouTube, you're missing out.
Missing out, man. You need to be watching. There's things that will pop up on the screen that'll...
Guys, we got a full production setup here.
Yeah.
We got screens. We got
We have a full
internet.
studio. We have a studio.
Anyways, if you guys want to watch us on YouTube, you can see our faces and the stupid shit that we look up on the internet.
And the cool clothes we wear.
Anyways, yeah. So, this year we didn't really... I didn't put... this year was weird. Halloween was in the middle of the week. It was like Tuesday?
That's right. Thursday.
Thursday?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm dumb.
Yeah.
So, nobody really did anything. So we ended up just taking the kiddos out. Dude, what's weird is when I was little, and it could just be because I was little, but when I was little, people went all out for Halloween.
Yo, yeah.
The houses were crazy.
Yeah.
When we went on Thursday, it was kind of lame.
Weak.
Yeah.
It was weak sauce.
And nobody really does it anymore, man.
There was one house where they had pumpkins that were on fire, and there was like a creepy nun walking around the yard. I mean, there
Like
was
the
some,
nun from like The Conjuring, like one of those nuns?
Yeah, it was pretty creepy. But yeah,
Crazy.
I don't know if it was because I was little and it seemed like more. It was more exciting to me. I don't know.
Right.
But even my parents went all out on Halloween. Like they would decorate the whole porch, and my dad would dress up as a scarecrow and sit on the bench and wait for people to walk up, and he would like jump out and scare them.
Yeah.
Spider webs all over the place, the whole 9 yards.
Wow,
But
that's crazy. Well, Nathan, did you do anything for Halloween?
I went to bed at like 8 o'clock.
Do you get trick-or-treaters at like a condo apartment place?
Nope.
No?
No.
that's nice.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah.
Whenever
crazy.
whenever we lived in our house, we always ended up going to like a party. So we would just leave.
Yeah.
So we never
Had to do
we
that.
never had when we had a house for like
You didn't leave the bowl of candy outside your door?
No, that thing would empty.
No.
You would empty that out
It's
so
the
quick.
first kid that would get there and be like, well, these people are stupid.
And it's this
Please-
little
please take one,
snot-nosed
please.
kid named like Randy. Like Randy did it. Anyways, so in keeping with the spooky tradition of this time of year, when you're listening to this, it's not that spooky anymore. But when we recorded this, it was pretty spooky. We're in the scary time of year where everyone's kind of looking up a bunch of scary stuff, bunch of scary stories, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about some.
Maybe some
Scary stuff.
unexplainable things that, you know,
Unexplainable things. Yeah.
they got to be scary though, man.
Oh, I'm telling you, I'm gonna look up mainly some. I got some San Antonio stuff. I'm ready to talk about.
I only have one creepy thing and that was it.
Yeah, I'm ready to talk about.
well, I don't know anything about the creepy stuff in San Antonio.
San Antonio is literally one of. Well, they say it's one of the most haunted cities.
Shut up. The train track thing? Get out of
No,
here.
it's not even the train. The train track isn't even around anymore, which we'll talk about in a bit.
That's
but-
trash, man. That's trash.
Well,
It's gravity.
It was trash. Now it's not even anymore. So
Who's going first?
All right. Yeah. Who wants to share some scary
Trent
stories?
wants to go first.
And for those of you listening, watching, feel free to look these up. Get scared as you're doing this. I invite you, if you're in your apartment or in your car or whatever, turn off the lights, pitch black, listen to these scurry stories.
Get that piece of chalk, clear out your furniture with that wood floor, draw a circle.
Yes.
I don't know the recipe. Get some
Put
candles.
some salt, get the little egg, the little Mexican egg, and do the sana sana colita de rana kind of thing all over your house. Anyways, who wants to go first?
A couple of razor blades. You know.
So my plan for today was to go read some Reddit r/no sleep stuff because those are really good. But turns out that we can't actually read those because they're copyrighted.
Do you
Can
think
you-
any
can
of
you
our thousands
summarize
of followers will be checking?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to rip
Wait,
anybody
word
off.
for word or just summarize it, huh?
It literally says on the thing like you have to ask permission, and it's like the people that are submitting. Anyways, there's another subreddit, and I read like a couple stories. They're kind of long, but they're basically kind of like no sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
they
let's
are
read
super
through them and then we'll
long.
comment on them. That's good. Let's good. Let's read them, comment. Yo.
Okay.
I'm ready to get scared.
Audiobook, let's do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna exercise my reading. Anyways,
The dog went to the river.
today, Junior.
One time the government asked us to pay our taxes.
Oh yeah. So we've been watching a lot of YouTube videos. Or what would you, Kat? They're like
YouTube videos.
wannabe TV shows. Like
Yes.
they're like scary TV shows, but they're not enough to be. Well, I guess one of them, which was probably the worst one that
Ever.
we've watched.
Uh-huh.
Like of all of the videos, the shows that
Ghost
we watched.
Adventures.
Ghost
Not
Adventures.
a fan,
Dude,
guys.
That's
Don't
the
even
worst.
watch it.
And that's on
Worst.
Hulu.
Don't even watch. It's on
Trash.
Travel Channel. It's on network television. Yeah. Cut
So-
that trash.
Yeah, that one was the worst. It was the house from. They went to the house from
The Conjuring.
The Conjuring, and it's a pretty creepy house. But dude, they were like doing all this stuff. They were like, "Oh my god, there's a cold breeze,
Dude,
right
feel
here.
the cold breeze.
Feel it, feel the cold breeze."
And
Oh my
just
God,
at this moment, we felt a cold breeze. What could it possibly be? And that's the whole episode was things that we couldn't see, but we're supposed to get scared of.
Yeah, like they were experiencing all this crazy stuff, but it wasn't translating at all
Yes.
over the video.
Yes, I'm telling you, bring out the Ouija board, do something like that. I don't mess with that stuff, but I'll watch it. Like, I want to get scared. I watched it for a reason. I was disappointed.
Okay.
Anyways, all right. Trent's got story number one.
So, this is from Reddit r/free horror stories. And this one apparently is true. this really happened to somebody. And this one's actually really long, so I'm going to try and speed through this.
Okay.
This is like but you got to put some character into it while
Yeah,
you're reading.
take a
It's got to
sip
be
of
just like
water.
audio book it
I'm
up.
going to try.
Yes.
Do the Morgan Freeman.
All right.
I'm a tall yet extremely skinny guy, and I'm 21 years old.
Ooh.
I was 20 years old at the time, and it was the week before the presidential election in the United States. I felt a lot of anxiety about the election as I live in Manhattan, and there's a lot of crazy people in the city who act as if the entire world is going to end over one simple election. So, feeling exhausted from both that and my university, I decided to visit my friend in Moscow. I'm half Russian and have an apartment in the city center of Moscow. Okay, dude.
Okay, how?
Okay, how?
Dude, you're 20 years old. What do? He's loaded. He's got to be loaded.
Guys, we can't judge this
He's a
story
trust fund
based
baby.
off of the facts.
He's a
we
trust
have
fund
to
baby.
read the story and give this guy a proper chance to
That's
scare
like
us.
starting out the story with, my name's Nathan. I have an average job, but I have 3 houses in Florida.
Dude,
That's
it's the renovation shows. It's like, this is Becky and Chris. They are hamster farmers, and one is a gas station clerk. They have a budget of $1 million.
Yeah, dude.
Okay. I've never been in Russia while it snowed, and luckily during this time, it was snowing. The city looked beautiful, and the vibe I had from the city was perfect. I felt so calm and safe, and the whole world around me just seemed so quiet. Unfortunately, I had a severe jet lag and fell asleep around 5 p.m. Moscow time that day. My friend went home to get ready for her classes the next day, and I woke up around 3 a.m. I could not fall back to sleep, so I decided to go outside and take a walk around my area while it calmly snowed. I walked around this dead, empty city in my district and took in all of the beautiful architecture and snow falling down heavily. I don't remember for how long I was walking, but I crossed a bridge and entered deeply into a neighborhood I was not familiar with.
Scary.
I thought it would be okay, and I was in my district and sort of remembered the way back home. I eventually came up to this ginormous entrance of a block unit with a beautiful gate on it. The gate was open, so I decided to step inside. It looked like a small little compound or something similar to it. If anyone is from Russia, they probably know what I'm talking about. Everything was dead quiet, and the trees canopied in the square complex. To the right was an extremely tall building with a ginormous door. I peeked inside and saw a lightly dimmed lobby, typical Russian lobby vibe, with a blinking fluorescent light. I held on the door, and to my surprise, it was unlocked. I entered into a massive building and looked around.
He's breaking and entering?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's the end of the story then. That's not fair.
Yeah.
Well, let's find out what happens next.
Okay, we'll go.
I saw many stairs wrapping around in a square leading up a small typical Russian elevator, and to the right of the stairwell, stairs that led down.
What's typical Russian?
I don't know. I've never been to Russia.
We are never going to get through this.
Apparently, they have little tiny Russian elevators.
Oh.
The door at the bottom of the stairs was open. Wow.
Oh, let me go in?
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely do not know what came over me, as I am not one to adventure alone. But as I stated earlier, everything felt so beautiful. The quiet vibe of snow-covered Russia had me feeling so peaceful, and decided to tiptoe on down into the basement to take a closer look. Dude, basement, really? I walked into the room with the open door and threw on my flashlight on my phone. I saw an extremely long tunnel and could not see the end of it. I felt threatened by it and got extremely uncomfortable and decided it was best for me to leave. When I turned around, the only light that was entering the tunnel was from the outside of the doorway. I saw standing in the door a black silhouette.
Nope. That's done.
Done, bro.
Yeah, take
I would-
me at that point. I'd be
I
like,
would just
Lord, I'm
shoot
done.
myself. Yeah, I would shoot myself. Okay, well, it's over.
That's
Bam.
one of the scariest things. Nope.
I quickly understood that it was the outline of a person who was at least 5 inches taller than me. So I would say he was about 6'5". Now, okay, so I don't know if this is a guy or a girl. But
Wait, in the beginning, didn't you say that it was a... Or wait. Oh, you just said I'm 21.
yeah, it doesn't say if it was a guy or girl.
Oh, okay.
So apparently this silhouette is 6'5". He was massive, and my stomach dropped so hard with my heart beginning to beat super quickly. He started to speak Russian to me, but as I'm not fluent in Russia, I did not understand everything he said. I'm sorry, I don't speak Russian, I said to him
He
in
says,
Russian.
Nico, you want to go bowling? Stupid.
Everybody to move the car. So
You speak English? He said in English to me. I told him I did, and he asked me if I knew where I was. No, I told him, as my mind started to fill up with a lot of different scenarios, one of which of me having to run down the tunnel and getting lost to avoid him if he chased me. These tunnels used to be used for Red Army soldiers to move from one place to the other during the war, he explained to me. This whole building used to be a bunker for Red Army soldiers. I said, to show him some interest, and began to move towards the left while facing him, in attempts to get him to move out of the doorway. This whole place is now apartments. I have one on the top floor. You should come see it, he said to me. It's quite late, and I think I should be going, I said. However, he grabbed my small wrist with a lot of strength and led me towards the stairs to go to the main floor of the lobby. I have a view you'll love, he called the small elevator, and any of you have ever been to Russia, you know exactly what type of elevator is, the type that can barely fit 2 people. He began to tell me about how he just got back from Chicago and that his husband loved Chicago as well. This started to have me panicking as I thought to myself there would be another man up to where he was bringing me, and I would have 2 men overpowering me.
This has to be a girl.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Okay, so once we go to his room, I looked at this massive studio apartment he had. He had only candles to light the room, with a lot of tapestries dividing it up. With both the candles and moonlight shining through, it created a super eerie vibe. I looked out his window as he instructed me, and I have to admit, the view was amazing. I got a panoramic view of Taganskaya and the something building. I then started snooping around and looked for an opportunity to get out of there. Where's your husband? I asked. He looked at me and laughed. Oh, he's dead. He then picked me up and I asked him what he was doing. He brought me into another room and began to touch me inappropriately. He ran his hands down my back and took my phone from my back pocket. I did not realize he did this, as I was just in horror as this man licked me and said explicit things in Russian. I tried to pull away, but it made him squeeze and corner me even harder. After about 10 minutes of this, he told me to wait a moment. He went into his bathroom, and at this moment, I immediately sprinted over to the door. There were no lights, so I went to pull out my phone for the flashlight. Only to my horror, the phone was missing from my back pocket. I almost nearly had a heart attack as I realized I would have to go back into the bedroom to get my phone. I darted back into the room, saw my phone lying on the couch he had next to his bed. I grabbed it and ran for the door. I unlocked 2 locks on one door, and when I opened that one, there was an outer door. I managed to get it open. As I ran out, the adrenaline was so high in me, I ignored the elevator and went straight for the stairs. I ran around in circles down it for seemed like forever until, typo. I finally reached the bottom. I practically leaped down a few steps to go out of the lobby to the main door I had entered from.
keep going.
It wouldn't open as I pushed as hard as I could on it, and then it began to start sobbing to myself and cursing. The thought of me having to go back into that tunnel to hide again from him came over me, and I almost began to accept that as a reality at this point. I quickly tried to pull myself together and noticed the typical button you should press to disable the magnets that hold the doors locked. I pressed it, heard the monitored beep that followed, and fell out of the door into the snow. I never understood why characters could not pull themselves together when running in horror movies, always falling on themselves. But in that moment, I did the same, and I sort of understand it now. I treaded through the thigh-high snow to the main road by exiting the complex. I sprinted, ignoring my lungs screaming for air down the main road, only slowing down once I reached the bridge that led me to the street. Once I got inside, I sat on my bed for 2 hours, nearly shaking before I told anybody about it.
That's the scary story? What's the scary part? There's no punchline?
Dude, The first comment is, WTF, you Asian?
Wait, that's really the whole story?
That's the story, man.
Dude, why did you pick that story?
Dude, I don't know, man.
That one sucked.
No, there's scary
Dude.
elements of it, but
You got licked, big deal. Get out of here with that.
Nathan, I just sent you something. When you said the person in the tunnel, I'm not going to lie. I was scared because my biggest fear is someone behind me. Like when you're running somewhere or like you don't know that someone's there behind you.
Ew, what is that?
Just put it on the screen. Put it in the band.
Ew.
But yeah, so like if you're watching, like this is from a movie, Lights Out. But like that's what I imagined. Like you're down and you just see the silhouette of somebody.
Oh,
Terrifying.
It's pretty scary.
Yeah, that's horrifying. But yeah, I don't. Whenever y'all would, that story made me think of. I couldn't focus after the silhouette of the person. Did any of y'all grow up in a house with 2 floors? 2-story
Yeah.
house?
Yeah.
When you were a kid and you were coming up the stairs at night,
No,
how
thanks.
quick did you run? I would run, and I did the crawl thing where like you're kind of halfway up, and then you're like, and then you get up and you turn back towards the bottom.
I definitely did that.
And then you would like look too long.
You look too long to where you're like, if I look long enough, it'll appear, and then you just scare yourself to where you're like, nope, screw it, going to bed. You just walk to your room. Yeah.
See, when I was little, I definitely got scared like that, but I shared a bedroom with my brother, and that definitely helped
Yeah.
a bunch in terms of being scared.
Yeah, me too. I shared a bedroom.
It helps.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah. I was still terrified. I hated 2-story houses because the downstairs was always pitch black. We didn't leave lights on. Some families like to leave lights on just around the house, so something's always lit. We left the front porch on, but then inside the house, it was like pitch black. So if I woke up in the middle of the night and needed to go downstairs, like I could turn the stair lights on, but you're
that's
staring.
so
You know where
creepy.
like you're looking down the stairs and then it's lit and then it slowly just dims to like black and you're like, oh God. I hated that. And I'd get downstairs and the closest light switch was not at the bottom for the living room light. I'd have to walk across the room, flip the switch. It's terrifying. Terrifying. So yeah, that's what got me the whole time.
I used to carry a flashlight. And I
Aw.
would blow up the whole room, be like, all right, now I can go.
Yeah, I don't do dark. Like that's the thing I think that scares me the most when I go to haunted houses, anything like that. It's not being able to see what's in front of me. That scares me.
So there's been, was it like 2 or 3 times where we've, like the whole block,
power's gone out?
block has lost power.
Yeah.
And so we live in these apartments and we have these huge hallways. Well, they're not huge, but yeah, they are really long hallways.
They're huge hallways. Trust me, the biggest hallways in the world.
They're really long hallways. And when the power goes out, like I have flashlights, but there's something about shining the flashlight in the hallway that it's like, ooh, this is really weird. Like it's lit very weird, just very different
Yeah.
than normal, and it's just
Like
kinda
if somebody
eerie.
were to peek their head out of a door, it's
You'd
like,
be like,
oh, my gosh.
oh.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
if you move the flashlight just a little bit and then move it back and you see something for like a split second, nah. Bad, I cancel my lease. Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't mess with that sort of stuff. That stuff scares me. It went out when I was here. I've only experienced it once here, and I didn't go out into the hallway. It only happened for like a minute, but I was like, nope. I was like, I heard how dark it gets, but I'm like, no, I'm good. Oy. But that, on the scary meter, let's go on a 1 to 10.
I'm on a 1 to 10. That was a complete waste of time. So that'll be what, like a -4?
I am not that mean. I'm going to give it like a 4.5.
I'm gonna give it like 5 hooked on phonics.
It's more of kind of like,
Okay.
holy cow, like there's not a ghost.
That was
but
a
like,
solid hooked on phonics. Like this is a demo from Trent Garcia from Hooked on Phonics, Volume 1,
Yeah.
Lesson 1.
Oh, wow. Can I read? Okay, so moving on.
I'm sorry, Trent. That was a fine job you did there, man.
I never said it was bad. That's all, Nathan. I thought it was great.
I mean, it was suspenseful.
Yeah. Our listeners
I
are
turned
probably
into the
spooked.
I turned into the hallway, and
Dude.
as I turned around, as I turned around, the guy on the top was staring down back at me. And he was 6.5, 6.5, 5 inches longer than me. Bigger.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, you're an asshole.
I went to the stairs. I mean the snow. This guy, he licked me.
It's
Like, bro.
it's like when a little kid has to read.
And you
in
already
school.
read that too. You read it earlier in the day.
When a little kid reads, how does it sound, Nathan, when they have to read in a classroom?
When you want,
so
much that you
you want to do anything.
anything.
Oh, dude.
Oh my gosh. Oh man, kids, I hate them.
All right, is it my turn?
Yeah, you go. It's fine.
Well, this is not. Yeah, this is going to be really stupid.
Oh yeah, let's judge your story.
Please, y'all are going to make fun of me forever, but I thought this was scary, and I asked a lot of people about it too.
better be scary.
So I went on about a year ago. I was doing sound on this tour, and I was gone. I had my parents watch over my place for a few months while I was gone, and when I got back, I left the place really clean, and my parents would just go occasionally just check up on the place, and I was traveling and living out of a small little suitcase. I was wearing the same, 4 shirts, a couple of pairs of jeans, and same shoes and stuff forever. And I'd wash those repeatedly. And when I got back, I did laundry. And I noticed when I was drying, after my clothes were done drying and I was folding my clothes, I noticed a shirt and a pair of socks that weren't mine. And I was like, that's weird. Like, I don't wear an extra large shirt, and I don't wear this brand of socks. I don't know where they came from. This is kind of weird. So I thought, it's got to be somebody from the bus or something. Like maybe one of the band guys left it, and I grabbed it or something, like in the hotel, grabbed my shirt by accident or something. Because you would, you shower at random places, and like they'll rent out hotel rooms for the band, and you can kind of have your time slot to go and take a shower and stuff. So maybe I thought I grabbed somebody's shirt or something. So I took a picture of the shirt and the socks, and I sent it a text message to like a couple of the band guys and a couple other people. And I was like, hey, are you guys missing a shirt and socks? And like, nobody was like, no, that's not mine, man. Like, and now that I think about it, like nobody wore an extra large shirt. And it was just weird, after being gone for a few months and my house being empty, that I found another shirt and a pair of socks I'd never seen before pop out of my dryer. And I was like, okay, what somebody broke in and washed their clothes in here or what? So I started, when I was folding my clothes, it was like the first day back, I was like, man, okay, let me look around and see if anything's been moved, or maybe like some things in my drawer, maybe, let me check for things that look out of place or something, because this is kind of weird, and I didn't notice anything, man. So it's just really I don't know where that shirt and pair of socks came from. That's kind of weird, but really stupid, because nothing's missing, and it's like, did somebody come wash their clothes here?
It's pretty weird. And how would they know that you're gone?
That's why it had to have been like, I must have picked up a shirt and socks. But dude, I don't know, man. Like when you would go and shower, like I have all the sound guys, man, we're like, they have the same Pelican case, and you go to you travel everywhere with a Pelican case, and you know what's in there. The same stuff's always in there.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And
it's
it's
you
not
keep
like
your stuff to yourself.
Yeah, you keep your stuff to yourself, and you have your own private hotel room to go and take a shower. It's not like you're mixing up stuff with somebody else's clothes. But I don't know. I still have no idea where that came from. And I threw them away, and I was like, "This is creepy," and I just threw that stuff away.
That's pretty weird.
It is weird.
Yeah.
Well,
So somebody was washing their clothes in my house. Whoever it was, word. I have some solid Kirkland detergent. It smells amazing. Hope you got to use some of that.
Very nice.
All right.
Well, before we
Do we rate-
go to
oh,
the
yeah.
next one,
Oh,
we got to throw it to the ad.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, plus that's great. Great
This
show.
next story you're about to hear is brought to you by our sponsor.
Also, okay, so this is just for the people watching on YouTube. The reason we throw it to the ad in 30 minutes in is because we have ads on our podcast.
Because we're sponsored.
We are-
What?
We're sponsored by Anchor, and we put ads right there, but then we don't include them in the YouTubes because we don't get paid to promote those sponsors on YouTube. So that's
This
why
is
we're doing
all donation for y'all.
Yeah, we don't get paid. Period. Like outside of this either. We run strictly off donations.
Yep.
GoFundMe's. We don't pay taxes.
Nope.
it. Okay. Anyways, all right.
Wow,
So
what a great ad that was. That was
was-
freaking amazing.
that was
Such
great.
a good
The
ad.
greatest.
So when we were talking about, hold on, I got to drink my water. I have so much like old Whataburger man phlegm in my throat.
So yesterday we went to Snooze, and there was like an hour wait, and it is for real an hour wait. It was very long.
What a scary story. Ooh.
No, this isn't scary. It's just talking about phlegm.
Found a pair of socks in your pancakes.
No, so
That's where they came from.
there was a farmer's market, and so we were like, oh, we'll just go to the farmer's market to kill time. We met this lady who makes chocolate. Crazy lady. She started talking about how like all the sugar that they're being fed to us is ruining our bodies, and she went on this cleanse, and she was like hawking up all this stuff. This lady was crazy.
But now she's selling chocolate.
Well, she's selling like 80% cacao. It's not like caramel or
Milk chocolate?
caramelized chocolate. She was saying like something about how when you're cooking sugar and you bring the heat up to a specific point, it caramelizes, and that's where it becomes bad or something. But anyways,
Oh, I just like to eat spoonfuls out of like the raw like bag.
proceed.
Caramel? The old people's. Where there's originals. Come over.
Wait,
All right.
what was the point of that story?
Oh, she was saying that she went on this cleanse and it took her 2 months, and she was hawking up like all of this phlegm from her her
Mouth.
chest
Oh.
and
She
her
probably had
sinuses.
like some kind of sinus infection, bro.
Oh, she was saying that she grew depressed, and so she went on this cleanse, and she like got all this stuff out of her system that was like built up.
Yeah.
It was like lining her inside of her or something like that. Dude, I'm telling you, she was crazy. I was having a really tough time following what she was saying, but
Yeah.
it reminded me of that when you said your phlegm, Whataburger phlegm.
What a bugger phlegm guy. I still have it. I don't know where it's come from. Maybe I have allergies. All right. So when we were talking about scary things, San Antonio, we have listeners all across the country, all across the world. And I bet you a good chunk of them maybe have never been to San Antonio. Well, San Antonio is a really old city. You got to think about it. The Alamo, like that's back when we were Mexico, Spain, the other countries, and like so many people have died here. There's been a lot of battles here. A lot of stuff has gone on here. But if you're from San Antonio and you're listening, you're going to love this next one, because if you grew up here, you're a kid, your family like to scare you, you've probably heard of the San Antonio legend of the Donkey Lady. Any of y'all heard of the Donkey Lady?
I have heard of it, but I don't know what. I know nothing about it.
No?
I don't know what was that.
Nathan, did you grow up with like the kukui? Did you get the kukui?
No, I just grew up with no fear.
Wow. Isn't that like our walks sometimes? Okay. So Legend of the Donkey Lady. So this goes back. There's a lot of different like iterations of it, but I'm going to read you this story. Don't make that's the Donkey Lady. So the Legend of the Donkey Lady. I started elementary. It feels now I know what you're talking. It feels weird when you're reading it.
Oh, suddenly you can't read, huh?
Wow.
I never.
Hey, when you were in school, did the teachers ever have those like PVC pipes, and they were like the phones, so you could like you could talk real quiet to yourself, but you
No,
could
I
hear
wasn't
it,
homeschool.
hear it in your ears.
So-
This was in elementary school, man. The public school. Dude, don't try and deep cut me, bro.
No, we didn't have
Let's see how your reading is, dude.
All right. No, but we never had those. Are they to like calm you down while you read?
No, it's so you can like read to yourself in quiet. Like if you have a hard time if getting distracted while you're reading in your head, you can like read to yourself really quiet.
That's actually really
You can
smart.
hear it in your ears.
You can enunciate. All right. The Legend of the Donkey Lady. Stay put, guys. It's kind of a long story, but it's fine. So, I started elementary school in 1966 at Westwood Terrace in San Antonio, Texas. Shout out. While I was there, I heard many local legends. Later, I found that anyone who had gone to school in San Antonio had heard of the Donkey Lady. Now, the way I heard it, back in the 50s, a young woman had been in a fire. My wife says she heard that the Donkey Lady had lost 2 children in that fire and that her husband had started it. She was left horribly disfigured.
Pause. Okay.
Yes.
The homepage of Google is somebody on a donkey.
Oh.
What in the world?
I don't know. Can you use 2 fingers and zoom in on like your trackpad or your mouse or anything? Or
No, because Trent doesn't have a trackpad. But...
Well, it's Will Rogers.
It's Will Rogers.
Who we actually have a school named after him here in
Oh, that's a
San
horse, not a
Antonio.
donkey. All right, proceed.
Well, it's 2019. It can be whatever it wants. All right. So, she was left horribly disfigured. It was said that when her face healed, all the skin had something of a drooped, baggy appearance. Her fingers had all fused together, leaving dark stumps or hooves.
Like a duck?
No, like a donkey. Jeez, that's why it's called Donkey Lady. All right. Close your eyes and like imagine it as I'm reading this, okay? Everyone, if you're listening, watching, listen. Disfigured and totally insane, she stayed mostly in the rural areas of Bexar County and terrorized anyone who approached her. Bexar County is our county. As children, when we would stay out on late summer nights, we would all describe what we thought she looked like. We were absolutely positive she waited in the darkness for us to separate so she could pounce on a lone victim, ripping and chewing. Well, you get the idea. Most of the Donkey Lady stories have faded into memory, but one was a little harder to shake. One of my best friends told a cousin who was with his father and brother on a weekend outing. They were going to camp and do a little fishing in an unofficial county park. The group pulled up to a weed-infested area off a dirt road and began to make camp. The 2 boys had the task of unloading the pickup truck while the father found a suitable spot for the tent. While unloading the truck, one of the boys heard a rustling in the weeds just ahead of the truck. He told his brother, who in turn called out to their father to come look at the truck. The 3 of them watched the tall weeds beneath the oaks away from the road bend under the weight of what apparently was a large animal. Then they heard an odd snorting sound and a high-pitched snarl. The father, not recognizing the sounds coming from the animal, decided they probably ought to find another spot to set up camp. The 3 of the men quickly threw the tent, sleeping bags, and gear into the back of their truck, and while backing up, the father watched out of the corner of his eye as the weeds shook nearby. The prowler moved away from the trees and began headed for the general area of the road. The father urgently whispered for the boys to get in the truck. Fast! All 3 of them were in the truck in a flash, and the father started it up. He put the truck in gear and was just pulling out of the road when something fast and large burst out of the weeds and ran at the front of the truck. Seconds later, a horrible apparition bounded onto their hood and began shrieking at them at the top of the glass. It was the ugliest thing they had ever seen. They swore it looked like a donkey, but it was mostly human. It screamed at them more as the truck continued to move away from the weeds and into the road. It used deformed hands to punch at the windshield until it broke it into many pieces. The father hit the brakes and the thing slid off the hood and onto the dirt road. Throwing the truck into reverse, the father floored the gas pedal and put some distance between them and the thing backing into the weeds in the road. He then put the truck into first and stepped on it again. That thing was coming up on them fast. They said it almost looked like a wild animal with incredible look of rage and hatred in its eyes. Dirt sprayed up from the road and the beast as they pulled out, slowing it down just enough for them to get away. The donkey lady supposedly had finally dropped back and headed into the weeds. After the story was told and my friend let it be known that he thought it was a nice story, but, well, it was a nice story. Then he was taken outside and shown the truck. The windshield had almost been knocked off. The hood was dented and the paint was scuffed and scraped. Okay, so there's another story. Have y'all ever been to Donkey Lady Bridge?
No.
No.
No?
Where's that at?
South side. Like south
Of
side.
course, it's on the south side.
Like everything scary here is on the south side. So apparently what I grew up listening to was similar story. The lady, her husband didn't love her anymore and he set the house on fire. She was in there with the kids and she died in the fire, but then everything, like if you've ever seen like a burn victim, their skin does have like a sort of like, it looks like it's melted a little bit, and so apparently like her whole body was disfigured and you go out there. And what I remember was you go out to this bridge and I mean, it's creepy. Like there's this bridge on the south side. It's surrounded by trees. It's a dark little country road and pitch black. And it's around that south side of San Antonio where there's nothing. And you have to yell out her name 3 times. You yell out Donkey Lady, Donkey Lady, Donkey Lady. And then you'll start to hear like a donkey noise. Nathan, can you do a donkey noise?
Hee-haw.
Like that, exactly, but a lot scarier.
Hee-haw.
And so we went there in high school, and we didn't see anything, but I mean, you definitely felt like there was something there because it's abandoned, so you can't drive on it anymore. You have to walk it.
You're psyching yourself out, bro.
I know.
There's nothing there.
So you have to park your car, and you've got to walk down this road, and it's a long walk, and then you get to the bridge, and I mean, you can't see any. I mean, it's just overgrown with plants, trees, all that sort of stuff, and you just hear a bunch of stuff over there. But I don't know. Donkey Lady's a little creepy. San Antonio's got some scary stuff, I'm telling you.
Dude, okay.
Yeah. That story was a lot scarier when I read it in high school, but still. I'm not going to read this other one. It's super, super long. But yeah, that was my story.
Well, so one thing that I want to talk about is this thing that I saw the other day on Facebook.
Oh, yep.
Okay, so it's this place. It's supposed to be a haunted house, but I mean, technically, it's, from what I gather, it's a torture house. So, basically, so this guy, from what I gather, there's this guy. He's got this like homemade haunted house thing going on, and you pay with. Let me bring up the Wikipedia article. You pay with a bag of dog food, and there's a 40-page waiver you have to sign. And what are you doing, Abe?
I was listening to your
Are
story.
you mocking me?
No. That's what I'm imagining
is
the guy.
serious. This
That's
is
what
a
I'm
real-
imagining the guy looks like. This is a creep already. So keep going.
Yeah, so this guy's he's a crazy creep guy. But you have to sign this 40-page waiver. You have to do a physical fitness test and a psychological test.
Dude, do they throttle your internet speeds too?
Dude,
Scary.
they drive you to the edge, man. But anyways, so it's an 8-hour haunted house.
Oh.
And there's a lot of videos online, and most of them are like really weird. But it's basically a torture house. And the prize, if you survive the challenge,
If you complete it.
if you complete the 8-hour thing, you get $20,000. But if you fail it, and there's people who keep trying to do this, but every time you fail, you get $500 deducted from your prize for every failed attempt.
Gosh.
So eventually, it's not worth it.
This guy's not even making money though. Where's he getting this money?
I'm sure that you have to pay, but I did read somewhere that the guy has dogs, and if you bring him a bag of dog food, you can try it. I'm sure you have to pay like the next time you do it. There's like a bunch of people, videos that I watched of people who were like, they couldn't make it and they couldn't do it. So they said they were going to come back on another day and try it. But so I found this article. It's like I was looking up a review because like there's not a whole lot of videos because you're like it's the guy's haunted house. The only videos of the haunted house are the guy's videos, which some of them are super weird. Like I saw a guy being buried alive. Like it's psychologically
Yeah.
crazy.
That's scary.
So this article says people frequently lose control of their functions when they're truly frightened, meaning like, throwing up. And in this one review, it said, usually the only consequences associated with this are embarrassment and having to leave without seeing the entire haunt. As with everything else, though, McKamey Manor sees these instances as a way to further torment attendees. Namely, anyone who throws up runs the risk of being forcibly fed their own vomit.
Oh gosh.
I'm telling you, this is a torture house.
Hey.
Okay, this one review says, do cockroaches freak you out? Are you arachnophobic? If you answered yes to either of these questions. So basically, when you sign up, there's like an interview process, and he interviews you and figures out what your like fears are.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
in this case, cockroaches and bugs, you probably shouldn't get on the McKamey Manor wait list. Oh, there's wait list. Previous haunt participants have faced tarantulas and cockroaches while locked into a coffin. Even worse, an unknown gas pumped into the coffin while participants attempt to keep their fears and their critters at bay.
The being buried alive is one thing. Honestly, being buried in a coffin is terrifying.
Yeah, that would scare the crap out of me.
They did back in the day when it was the whole real world road rules thing. They did a Halloween challenge where all of the road rules contestants, they had to be buried alive in a coffin. And I mean, keep in mind, like MTV crew is there, everyone's there. The coffin has like a PVC pipe that goes up into the ground, so they're getting fresh air. Like that's not a thing. But they put the PVC pipe over by like the person's feet, so that way they can't see any of the light that comes through it. Like, because that would come for you. If I could look up through that thing, that's what I would focus on the whole time. But imagine like sitting in a coffin. I get real claustrophobic. Imagine sitting in a coffin where you can't move, even to the point where you can't flip over because that's how like thin it is. Imagine being on that and you hear the dirt just constantly piling on top and you can't move out of it. It's hot. You can't like stretch your legs. You can't curl it. You can't do anything. You're just stuck in one position. That's terrifying to me. I don't know why I freak out on that kind of stuff. I can't do it. But yeah, that's pretty scary. Really?
So another review is, imagine your hands are bound, you're on your knees, and someone shoves your face into disgusting, foul-smelling water. They hold you down for a few seconds before pulling your head up and dunking it again. Reporters for The Guardian witnessed this in action at McKamey Manor in 2015.
Gross.
Some have compared McKamey Manor to the horror movies like Saw. This reputation is at least partially due to the numerous breakers located throughout the haunt. Attendees are forced into traps that are reportedly practically impossible to escape. One disturbing example is the eel trap. People are locked in a tank that's 8 feet deep and swarming with live eels. There's a cage top so participants can breathe, but they aren't given any other specific equipment to help them survive or get free. Dude,
Weird.
this is crazy.
Yeah.
Nobody's done it.
Yeah. I mean, it probably just gets you to the point to where you're like, no, this guy is literally going to kill me. So
this guy, I can't remember exactly where he lives, but this guy, he's doing this on his private property, but he has neighbors.
oh yeah.
And
They told me about
these
this.
neighbors have kids, and these kids
Had kids.
are seeing like this guy drag people like across his lawn.
Yeah.
And so there's this huge like petition to get him to move,
Yeah.
and they can't do it because he's like doing it on private property, and these people are voluntarily
Yeah, they're putting
you know,
themselves
doing
putting
this.
themselves in the situation.
Yeah, and yeah,
Yeesh.
but yeah, this is crazy. I mean,
Insane.
when you think about it, $20,000 to complete this thing.
Oh yeah.
But
I mean, that would draw me to do it, but I don't. I mean, if all these people have failed, knowing me, I'm never going to do it.
Yeah,
Make it.
Some of these things say there's so much. It's called. Well, here it is. Quote: There's so much you have to pull out your own teeth. There's a chance of getting a tattoo. Chance of your fingernails getting pulled out.
Oh God.
It's really overwhelming. There's a chance of death. Accidents do happen.
Chance of death.
That's can't.
I don't think nobody has died.
Yeah, but
No one's also gotten the 20,000.
But you also sign a 40-page waiver, which I'm sure covers just about
That's the
everything.
scariest thing. Imagine doing your signature on that many pages. Shoot.
Yeah,
That's
this
a bad joke.
this guy's a creep. He like gets off on this, torturing people.
That's weird. I want to read to y'all a story from this guy. So I found this one on Reddit, and it's not copyrighted. So, but this isn't even about like scary stuff like spooky, or this is like I would be terrified if this happened to me. So it's this guy. He's telling a story. In college, I worked security for extra money. One of my regular assignments was the oversight shift at a metal fabrication factory. That's like foreshadowing right there that this is not going to be good. So anyways.
Just working in a dark warehouse. At
with
night.
metal. One of the primary reasons I was there to ensure that no one broke in to steal all the valuable metal that was stocked on site. That in turn involved checking the perimeter fence for damage at least once a shift. That couldn't be done effectively by camera. It instead required physically walking the fence line. Gosh, horrible. At night. So it was that one night I was walking the perimeter in the fence in the middle of a thunderstorm. My attention was on the beam of my flashlight illuminating the fence as I walked past. So I wasn't really focused on where I was walking, despite walking through the grass that was a bit over my waist. Apparently, I just stepped awkwardly on a patch of particularly slick grass or mud as I was heading downhill. But before I knew what was happening, I had slid feet first into an open storm sewer. Some a-hole had stolen the manhole cover recently, and the edges around the opening were wet with rain and mud thanks to the storm. Which, starting off, like that's actually a common thing. I've seen videos where like a manhole cover is missing and like people fall into it. But anyways, let me just take a moment to explain the storm sewer. First off, it was shaped like an oubliette. If you're not familiar with what this is, a picture of a concrete cell that is shaped like a jug, a small opening, whatever. He falls in. In this case, the bottom was maybe 10 foot square, and the opening for the manhole was about twice the normal width of the center of the ceiling. There was no ladder attached, and the fall was maybe 20 feet down. At the bottom, the floor was sloped to form two trenches in the shape of a cross. There were sewer channels going off in four directions, but they were maybe only a foot wide across and were blocked with metal grates. At the bottom, there was debris, including a number of large broken pieces of rebar. There were several pieces that were pointing straight up. Oh, gosh. Here we go. So I definitely would have impaled myself on several jagged points of rusty metal had I hit the bottom. So no way to escape a long fall and a probable disabling injury at the bottom. I somehow caught myself by hooking the edge of the opening on my elbow as I fell in. I dropped my flashlight to the bottom of the pit before I stopped my momentum. So I had a great view of all that broken rebar below me while I was struggling to escape. Maybe that was the collapsed remains of the ladder. Who knows? As I tried to get another handhold, my cell phone skipped out of my pocket and hit the bottom. Just one thing after the other. It felt like it was forever before I somehow pulled myself out of the opening. I don't doubt adrenaline gave me a considerable boost of strength, but even so, I nearly lost my hold on the edge 3 times before I managed to scramble out. I was kind of just jerking my knees toward the opening and jumping a couple inches, thanks to the momentum. My free hand kept scrambling for something solid to grab onto, but I couldn't ever find anything. I'm honestly not sure how exactly I pulled myself out using just the surface tension between the mud and the concrete in my hands. It felt like a miracle. All I could think after I pulled myself out was how I wasn't due to be relieved for another 7 hours. 7 hours before anyone would even start wondering where I was, and that whole time I might have been trapped at the bottom of a pit, impaled on some rods of rebar in the rain. I wanted to kill whoever stole that manhole cover. And yes, I did finish my shift after spending some quality time with a first aid kit and sewing some gashes in my uniform. Blah, 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 blah. Could you imagine?
He fell in a manhole?
So, like, he almost fell in, like, a 20-foot pit, and he's holding on. But those kind of things give me the creeps where like you fall somewhere where no one's going to know where you're at. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I think about when these people go like spelunking by themselves. They're like, we're going to go into this cavern and I'm going to go alone today. Like, no one knows where you're at. No one knows where you're going to end up. Could you imagine, like, my biggest fear is crawling through a really tight space and getting stuck and there's no one around you. You know what I mean? Because no one's going to help you. You're underground and like no one's going to hear you yelling for help or anything. So no one's ever going to really come for you to that area. Like, I don't know. That gives me, like, I get really nauseous when I think about that kind of stuff. Really sad too.
I don't like, probably the only thing I'm really scared of or like have a real fear of is if I can't move
Oh yeah.
my elbows, like if I can't like twist, then I start kind of freaking out a little bit.
Yeah.
I guess that's considered claustrophobia,
Yeah.
but it's only if I can't, like, so we used to have these, we had some neighbors that would come and babysit me and my brother, and they were like young college kids, but they would roll us up in like rugs and we would be like stuck. Like, did you guys ever do that? Like you roll yourself up in like a
little tamale
blanket
or something. Yeah.
Well, they rolled me up one time and they put me in the bathtub and I couldn't get out because I was so tight. And that was the first time that I really freaked out because I couldn't move.
Yeah. It's sad. Scary.
But yeah, the whole spelunking thing, I don't know if I would do that.
Yeah. Yeah. That'll get you. Anyways. Well, I just want to tell you all this one thing real quick. So if you're familiar with San Antonio, there is this really cool place. It's called the Pearl. It's like a brand new, whatever, big old like shopping
Newly
district.
renovated.
It used to be an old brewery. And so it was renovated into this whole like shopping district with a bunch of apartments, condos, coffee shops, whatever. Well, during the renovation of this, there was a really horrible death there, and probably one of the loneliest ones. Nathan, I'm just sending you a picture. So that way people watching could get an idea of what I'm talking about. But in the middle of this brewery, there's this gigantic smokestack. It just sits right in the middle. You could see it from everywhere in the Pearl. That's kind of what you look for when you drive by, is this big smokestack. Well, when they were doing construction there, one of the construction workers had wandered off, and there's this place called the Boiler Room, whatever the restaurant is. Well, it connects to the smokestack by this weird, it looks like a giant AC duct, and it connects giant AC duct, and it connects to it. Well, apparently this construction worker was walking, and it was so dark he slipped and he falls into the smokestack, and no one was there to see him fall into it. Well, you would think, okay, you could yell loud enough to get through, but apparently that smokestack is like 3 layers of brick deep. So, I mean, no matter how much you pound on it, like, and you got to think there's construction going on at all times, so they're not hearing, somebody scream, pound on the brick or whatever. There's even like a metal door on there, but I think all that had been like sealed up. That door is just like decoration now. But he was stuck down there, and they said that, he was alive for like days down there, and he eventually died. They found his body once a really bad smell started coming from that little door. And, but there was news articles and everything about it. And like, yeah, this dude, just imagine sitting in like this giant, like concrete tube going up, and no one hears you,
Did he get smoked? Was he tender?
Oh my gosh, it's not a working smokestack, Nathan. But yeah, he just sat there. He
Got pics of his body.
I don't have pics of his body. I do have.
Oh, there's somebody has to have a picture of
that. It's on, what's it called, rotten.com or something?
No thanks.
That's where it's at. We're not gonna go to rotten.com.
E-Bombs World.
Nathan, I'm gonna send you but apparently, like, when they looked at the scene where he eventually just died, you got to think you run out of water, food, just everything. Like that's where he died. Like imagine just sitting in like this concrete bottom and just no one can hear you. No one's going to come for you. You can scream as loud as you want. And literally people are 4 feet away from you, just on the other side of this brick wall. And no one even knows you're there. That's
so there's not a door.
There was, okay, if you pass by it, there is this little black, like it looks like a little like
Yeah, I've
oven
seen
door
that.
or whatever. But apparently, I remember I can't find the article again, but I remember I read that it's like actually sealed up, something like that. So, yeah, so this guy just died down there. I mean, it was on the news and everything, so it's kind of sad.
I feel like I saw a scary movie when I was little about like what I'm imagining that hole that guy fell in.
Yeah.
I feel like I saw a movie about that.
Yeah.
Like there was some crazy. It was like it wasn't a. I guess it was a well. It was a dry well. That I don't know. It was in the scary movie. I'm trying to figure out what movie that was. I also feel like I saw a movie when I was little about what are those? They're like silos for rice.
Corn and all that.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can
yeah.
like sink to the bottom of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I saw a scary movie about that too.
Did you go see? It was the movie. Oh my gosh, A Silent Place, where they had to be all quiet.
No, what is that? That sounds amazing.
Trent, do you want to watch a scary movie tonight?
Dude, let's do
I might
it.
be down.
A Silent Place, guys. If you have not watched A Silent Place, it is terrifying. It's John Krasinski from The Office, his wife Emma Blunt.
Is it new?
Came out like last year.
Oh.
The entire movie is almost quiet. There's a couple parts, but I mean, there is a part where these silos, they're filled with a lot of the times it's like corn or grain. Mm-hmm. And when you if you fall into them and you move, it becomes like quicksand because the corn just shifts around.
Yeah.
And you can drown essentially.
Oh, you know
Like,
what?
It buries you.
I saw that movie. Nah.
Are you kidding me? I was scared because
No, I
there's so
remember.
much suspense. Don't give it away, Nathan. But like, there's so much suspense the entire time. Where did you see it?
I think I saw it on, like I rented it or something.
Oh, okay. So you didn't see it in theater. In theaters, it was because nobody in the theater wanted to talk because the whole movie is like,
Oh, dude, that movie was... He's like a farmer and that little girl...
she's deaf and all that.
Yeah.
Dude, it was very M. Night
to-
Shyamalan. Like, it was good.
They have to make signals to see stuff. Like, what's it called? Like they had little like they'd get on top of those things like in the field and to see, like to communicate with each other. It was like lights or like a fire or something.
Light signal.
I forgot.
They're like light signals that they would get up. Yeah, I remember seeing that movie and remember it being like, oh, at the end it was like this.
Oh, yeah. Well, don't say it. But like okay, yeah.
Yeah, it
I
makes
did
you go
say
like
that
this. It
too.
makes
I
you go
was
like this. Oh, dude, really?
Yo.
It makes you go like that. It's one of those.
But it's good.
Like at the end of The Mist. Remember that?
The Mist.
Oh,
there was
dude.
two. There was The Mist and then there was The Fog.
No, I'm talking about like this. Is it Stephen King? Yeah.
Yeah.
Stephen King's The Mist.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah.
The movie. Dude, that was rough, dude.
It was bad. It was a bad ending. Same thing with
You couldn't wait 15 more seconds?
same thing with Total Darkness. Oh, that's right. Because doesn't the mist clear like right afterwards?
No, I mean, the noise that they were freaking out about was like help.
Gotcha.
They all just like went down the line and killed themselves because they thought it was coming, and it was just like, oh, it's a truck.
Pitch Black. That's the movie I'm talking about with Vin
Oh,
Diesel.
spoiler alerts! I just ruined The Mist for everybody.
Well, if they haven't seen
They
it by
all
now,
died
it's
at
fine.
the end, and then they died for nothing because it was just a help truck that they were scared of listening to. It
Yep. Crazy. Bird
was
Box.
like a tank or something. Anyway.
Anyways. Well,
That'll. I think that's gonna do it. If you think you concluded scary stories of
Yeah.
today.
spooky stories and all that. Anyways, yeah. I enjoyed getting scared with you guys. Hopefully our listeners got spooked out. But yeah.
They got to hear Trent read the level 1 Hooked on Phonics. This is
And
not
when
sponsored by
the
Hooked on
teacher
Phonics.
went to the store, she bought some bread and soup for her children hold on.
And
It was a
walked in the
typo.
when he walked in the snow and behind him, he turned around. The light was behind the guy, and he was there standing in the tunnel.
And then Tom Segura does a good one.
Dude,
All
Trent's
right.
so mad, dude.
Well, thank you for joining us, episode 8. My name's Abe. That's Trent.
Trent can read.
Y'all freaking suck, man.
I suck my back.
And the teacher went to the store.